Hello, everyone, and welcome to the future of gaming. My name is Remer Rietkerk, and I'm the head of esports at Newzoo. We are a market analytics and business intelligence firm focused in the games and esports space. This section is gaming and esports by the numbers. We're going to take you through some of the key numbers in gaming and esports and guidance on how to approach the space and what you need to understand. First thing to understand is that gaming is ubiquitous. With over 2.5 billion gamers in 2019, gaming is one of the biggest hobbies worldwide. Beyond that, the gaming market will grow to just over 2.7 billion gamers in 2020. While APAC has the lion's share with 1.5 billion gamers, 378 million in Europe and another 462 million in the Americas makes it a meaningful pastime globally. Importantly, gaming is not just PC or console anymore. In fact, 55% of gamers are mobile gamers, making it the largest medium for gaming worldwide. Gaming is an attractive segment, with 37.1% of gamers are under 25 and 62.3% are under 35. Beyond that, gamers are above average in terms of wealth, with only 26.2% being low income, while 31.4% are from high income households. You can see through these demographics that it makes a very interesting segment. It's also important to understand where young people are. Well, around 50% of 21 to 25-year-olds spend more than 6 hours per week watching internet television or playing games. Only 30% do the same on linear television. This poses a challenge for advertisers and brands, since internet streaming is often subscription based, and even when there is advertising, young people will run ad blockers and may tab away during any advertising they are forced to watch. This is why the game space can be an attractive medium for integrating a brand. Game integration could take a lot of different forms. A great example was a Travis Scott event where Travis Scott did a virtual concert in Fortnite in conjunction with Nike. This event had 27 million unique virtual attendees and made headlines in the media. There's actually a large Nike swoosh. It's kind of blocked here on Travis Scott's shoe, which kind of helps emphasize the powerful product placement here. This was only the latest in a series of events that Epic has launched in their Fortnite game world, with previous examples including Marvel Avengers, Stranger Things, John Wick, Marshmallow, and Star Wars. Games and brands can create unique opportunities for cross integration. For example, Need for Speed incorporated the lifestyle brand Life's a Beach in their character customization options, while real world variants of the same clothing were released. A similar approach was taken with Puma, which produced Need for Speed inspired sneakers, thereby crossing over the virtual and the real. In China, MAC also used Honor of Kings to promote their brand. Brand integration is not just a mail-oriented activity. Honor of Kings is a popular mobile game with a strong female presence, so MAC used it as a vehicle to promote their brand, including developing 5 co-branded lipsticks based on in-game characters. Another example is Pokemon Go. For anyone who doesn't remember 2016 and all the people wandering through forests staring at their phone, Pokemon Go is an augmented reality game where players walk around in the real world and catch Pokemon. Niantic, the developer of Pokemon Go, found an opportunity to deliver value by allowing businesses to get Pokestops, a special location in-game, at their real-world shop, thereby driving real-world traffic. That said, collaboration between a consumer brand and a video game presents a lot of challenges. Their primary business is not to push advertising, but to provide an engaging gaming experience for fans. A few key principles to keep in mind is that any collaboration must feel organic in the universe and not feel forced in by the developers. It must also feel authentic and resonant with the community it's serving. Finally, particularly in the case of collaboration on AAA games, it must not interfere with the gameplay itself. If a gamer pays 60 euros to play a title and the flow of their game is interrupted by advertising, it will leave them with a bad taste both for the game and the participating brand. The net result of campaigns that have failed to meet these principles can lead to limited reach and, in some cases, harm being done to the developer and brand that are collaborating. Not only that, the risks to the underlying game mean that game developers and publishers will often want steep fees for inclusion of advertisements in their product. That said, there is a gaming medium that is built for this kind of collaboration. And that leads us to games viewing and esports, which are both vehicles built around sponsorship revenues as well as platforms for marketing. What is games viewing? Simply, games viewing is when fans tune in to either live streams or VOD content around video games and video game gameplay. The video can come in the form of scripted content, live gaming streams, or professional competition. Game viewing has been around for about as long as gaming has. In the past, it took the form of watching friends or family members play, taking turns trying to set high scores, or gathering around on a couch. It's only been the growth of live video streaming that's unlocked it into the industry it is today. Game video content around competitive games, especially esports, is a viable and enjoyable alternative to gaming sessions. These viewing sessions offer a far more relaxed and often social experience, all while keeping fans fully engaged with their preferred franchises. Streamers will earn money through direct payments, such as donations and subscriptions, but also through sponsorship and promoting consumer brands on their pages or on stream. In some cases, a franchise's number of viewers can even exceed the number of active players. To illustrate this growth in games viewing, Twitch, the primary viewing platform for live stream content in the West, has grown from 2.4 billion hours watched in 2013 to over 10.5 billion live hours watched in 2019. Esports, on the other hand, is competitive gaming in an organized format, a tournament or league with a specific goal, i.e., winning a championship title or prize money, and a clear distinction between players and teams that are competing against each other. These tournaments are typically broadcasted. A significant share of fan bases for some franchises no longer play or have never played the game, but still watch esports. Fans can be motivated by a variety of factors. Leading factors from our consumer insights data are fandom of players or teams at 48%, improving their own skill through observation of top tier players, 44%, seeing the highest level of play of their favorite games, 28%, as alternative to playing themselves, 14%, or for social reasons. The image of esports may seem niche, but it's becoming a significant broadcast product. Online viewership for leagues is in the hundreds of thousands, and major events can and regularly do exceed 1 million average concurrent users, with some games peaking above 10 million viewers. Since online games viewing platforms have become mainstream, esports has seen consistent year-over-year growth in its online viewership. Beyond that, when attending large events, esports feels the same as any major traditional sporting match. You have 10,000 to 40,000 fans in a stadium, shouting and cheering on the game and reacting to the action in front of them, having come to see their favorite teams and or players in action. That said, the standard match day for even the top games is typically played in a smaller studio setting, while the arenas are only employed for the later stages of high-profile tournaments. This circle helps illustrate the different types of engagement. If you imagine the center of this circle to be the core game experience, each layer out introduces more levels of sophistication and complexity when it comes to both out-of-game organization and mechanisms for monetization. At the center is the actual game experience and direct competitive play. Closer to the center, game streaming, or the live streaming market, is often focused around non-organized competitive gaming. The industry sees a number of gamers live broadcasting themselves online while playing. Although there is a significant audience overlap between the esports and live streaming markets, their content and monetization strategies differ. Typically, social viewing is barely monetized and more oriented around small communities or groups of friends. Influencer viewing tends to be driven by donations and subscriptions, but also sponsorship and product placement. Once you enter the realm of esports, the monetization scheme becomes much more complex, but resembles the traditional sports media business in many ways, with sponsors, media rights, merchandise, and matchday revenues all being major pillars of the space. To illustrate this, on this slide, we show the equivalencies between League of Legends, a top tier esport, and a popular traditional sport like football. At the highest level, esports is organized almost identically to sports media. At the top line, the game owner sets the rules of the game and decides how it can and cannot be played. It dictates the core game experience anywhere the game is played. Beneath that, the game organizers create leagues or tournaments for the game, setting up competition rules, schedules, and fixtures. Next, you have the professional teams, who at the top level of play are fully fledged sports organizations, including not just performance capabilities, such as personal trainers, analysts, and coaches, but also entire brand, business development, marketing, content, and back office teams. These professional teams then sign the best players to compete in the leagues they have qualified for, paying them salaries that can reach 6 to 7 figures. On this slide, you can see that the medium in which people choose to engage in games viewing can change depending on the title. So on the left side, if you look at the live non-esports hours, so this is mostly the games viewing market, Fortnite leads the charge with 1.3 billion hours, followed by League of Legends and Grand Theft Auto 5. Then if you look at the live esports hours, League of Legends tops that chart, followed by Counter-Strike and Dota, which are not as streamer-driven markets, but are very well suited to esports and have large, thriving esports scenes. And then if you look on the right side, the VOD YouTube views, what you see is that it can be a different set from esports altogether, with Minecraft actually leading the charge, followed by Fortnite and Grand Theft Auto 5. Minecraft being so popular in the VOD context because Minecraft is the favorite game of young gamers, and they choose to engage through YouTube. And it's good to know that esports is growing, exceeding $1 billion worldwide this year in 2020, and growing with a CAGR from 2019 to 2023 of 13.4%. And of this revenue, it's important to highlight that consumer brands are driving the growth in this space. Whether through direct dollars such as sponsorship or through platforms via media buys, it is revenue driven from consumer brands promoting their products that makes up the bulk of the revenues, specifically almost 70% this year, 70% of total revenues this year. The audience is also growing steadily. Esports enthusiasts or fans who watch an esport event at least once per month is at 198 million globally, with a strong projected growth up to 295 million in 2023. This means that year over year, more and more fans will be tuning in and engaging with esports content. Non-endemic brands are noticing opportunities in this space as well. 310 deals from non-endemic brands occurred in 2019, which is a 35% year-over-year increase from 2018, and that represents 63% of all the deals in the market. These deals can occur on a league-wide basis, but also with individual teams, so there are a lot of entry points for brands entering the sport. Two important questions that always need to be asked is if the sponsorship makes sense and does it demonstrate authenticity. DHL's engagement with ESL One Hamburg is a great example of how that may seem like an inorganic connection, but can make perfect narrative sense. DHL asked ESL to be an in-partnership agency to support content produced on ESL's own channels, rather than going with the generalist agencies it typically relies on. The first partner content was a 1-minute video featuring an influencer as a delivery agent preparing welcome packages for tournament players. The follow-up included a promotional video featuring an in-game Dota courier, which is the unit that helps players buy items from the shop while they're in the map, and it was skinned as a DHL's EffieBot delivery robot. By keeping the theme of the sponsorship in line with what is happening in-game, courier in real life, courier in-game, and engaging key members of the community, DHL's activations with Dota 2 are seen as one of the most successful examples of its kind. Louis Vuitton's recent sponsorship agreement with Riot is a great study in how esports sponsorships provide more sophistication and complexity in engaging in a brand activation that you might find in traditional sports. Louis Vuitton partnered with League of Legends in its World Championship, but rather than do a simple logo placement, Louis Vuitton created a special World Championship trophy case as unveiled at the grand finals on broadcast, as well as introduced in-game cosmetics designed by Louis Vuitton, a League of Legends themed clothing line which sold out very quickly, a music video featuring Louis Vuitton designed outfits using in-game characters, and integration into the World Championship opening ceremony. Due to the digital nature of esports and the unique underlying IPs, brands have the possibility to explore many different ways to integrate themselves. There's a lot of things to understand when getting into games and esports. It's important to understand what games are a good fit for your market and your audience. If you're trying to reach teenagers in Brazil, Garena Free Fire might be a great choice, but it won't get you much when your target audience is people in their mid-20s in Western Europe. Tools like Newzoo Pro can help break apart these markets and understand where future customers are. It's important to understand if there's a story you could tell in this space, something that feels organic and demonstrates brand and product value. Fans engage on different mediums for different games. Fortnite has a huge live streaming audience, but it's weak in the esports space, so it might So maybe it makes more sense to work with a streamer. Minecraft is by far the most popular game for kids under 12 years old, and they primarily watch pre-recorded content on YouTube. So maybe a Minecraft esports competition isn't the ideal partner. CS:GO is esports first, with other options being markedly less popular. Once you've identified the medium, it's important to understand the potential partner. How big is the audience this partnership could reach is one question, but understanding who that audience is and also what the partner's brand image is matters too. Even esports teams have personalities, and if your brand wants to communicate dignity and tradition, going for a partner with a silly or edgy image might feel like a brand mismatch. Narrative cohesion is king. That's all I have for today. So thank you for tuning in and your time. Feel free to reach out to me at Remer@newzoo.com if you have any questions or want to find out more about us and what we do. Thank you.